Sort of like the worker bee growing so disgusted with the quality of his life that he turns and attacks the bear. The other bees will understand, they do understand, and all sorts of bees. Even those who thought the bear their rightful ruler see him differently when he foams at the mouth and bites at his own tail. I think you were on the right track with the idea concerning repression. It has to be a part of the revolutionary process, a necessary stage in the development of revolutionary consciousness. The situation being as it was and is, the black experience is what I'm referring to here. The milder Lynch example type repression is accepted by us as a necessary part of life, but the new, harsher thing brought on by the political thrust of the vanguard party serves to show even the most tractable of the reformers among us that firstly, the system will not, or actually cannot, meet our demands. Secondly, it clearly illustrates the real terms of our existence under capitalism, the nature of it, and how foul a piece of the pie would be even if we could have some. One fundamental problem remains: the survival of the vanguard political party, and I mean in good form. We must think to the righteous fielding of a clandestine army. John. Lenin, Guevara, Fanon, all in their particular fashion, postulate that before revolution can take place, all other forms of redress must be exhausted, clearly exhausted. Electoral processes must have broken down. The confidence of the electorate in any of the old forms completely shattered. Confidence in the ability of the old system to honestly organize any aspect of public life must be shaken to the core. Years and years ago, it must have been an acceptable tactic to organize a people's ticket of solid worker and revolutionary credentials and arm it with an ideal platform, only to be defeated by a mudslinging opportunist warlord, demonstrably inferior, scum-swilling pig. Then pass out a pamphlet to explain to the people how the system has failed them, or speak it in Pershing Square, or years ago in the campus hall. Today it is not a tactic, it's counter-revolution. After 40 years, it's pretty clear that it will not suffice. Years ago, working with and attempting to influence union leadership may have been judicious, but the government has long since infiltrated and bought off this leadership and legislated away the strike. Union hall speeches and pamphlet passing are playing at revolution. It isn't revolutionary or materialist to disconnect things, to disconnect revolutionary consciousness from revolutionizing activity, to build consciousness with political agitation and educational issue-making alone is idealistic rather than materialist. The effect has been reformism rather than revolution. When any election is held, it will fortify rather than destroy the credibility of the power brokers. When we participate in this election to win instead of disrupt, we're lending to its credibility, destroying our own. With all the factors of control over the electoral process in the hands of the minority ruling class, the People's Party can always be made to seem isolated, unimportant, even extraneous. If these tactics still give the appearance of revolution to some after decades of miscarriage, we are justified in replacing them as vanguard. When people begin to express their disgust at the demagogic and reformist maneuvers of the vanguard party, they will discover in real action a new form of political activity, which in no way resembles the old. These politics are the politics of leaders and organizers living inside history who take the lead with their brains and their muscles in the fight for freedom. These politics are revolutionary and social, and these new facts which the native will now come to know exist only in action. They are the essence of the fight which explodes the old colonial truths and reveals unexpected facets. which brings out new meanings and pinpoints the contradictions camouflaged by these facts. The people engaged in the struggle who, because of it, command and know these facts, go forward, freed from colonialism and forewarned of all attempts at mystification, inoculated against all national anthems. Violence alone, violence committed by the people, violence organized and educated by its leaders, makes it possible for the masses to understand social truths and gives the key to them. Without that struggle, without that knowledge of the practice of action, there's nothing but a fancy dress parade and the blare of the trumpets. There's nothing save a minimum of readaptation. A few reforms at the top, a flag waving, and down there at the bottom an undivided mass still living in the Middle Ages, endlessly marking time. In the general retreat to avoid full commitment, to write the discomfort out of revolution, some have raised a debate among us that has degenerated into name-calling, quoting the same authorities to validate diametrically opposed ideas, and ultimately creating a process that is dividing us into two mutually exclusive or contradictory groups. The overall effect is to reduce us to caricature. Where more than one individual is involved in any life situation, the fact of subjectivism will always make differences based on opinion and interpretation a problem in exchanges, in reaching the necessary means for the initiation of collective activity. Some debate will always be carried on. However, on the basics, we must somehow agree or nothing will get done. All opinions are not of equal value, and there is such a thing as counterproductive revisionism. Stupidity is not unknown to our long-range political policymakers. Participation in electoral politics organized by the enemy state, after recognizing that the whole process must be discredited as a conditional step into revolution, and particularly participation that tends to authenticate this process, is the opposite of revolution. It's a tactic for the ultra-rightists. With history as a guide, we could never make such monumental errors. The history of the US, the blood-soaked, urine-steeped essence of its being, the wreckage and demise of its human character under the wheels of a 200-year-old headlong fight with heedless, frightened animals at the controls of a machine that has mastered them, allows for no appeal on a strictly ideological level. George Wallace or Adolf Hitler would fare better at the polls of an honest election than Huey Newton and Tom Hayden. But again, what is an honest election after the fact of monopoly capital? Repression is indeed a part of revolution, a natural aspect of antithesis, the always to be expected defense attack reflex of the beleaguered, toothless tiger. All arguments against this fundamental fact are false and labored to the point of being completely illogical. Can power be seriously challenged without a response? Will the robber baron, the tycoon, the Führer allow us to seize his privilege without resistance? Can we steal it away from the greatest bandit of all time with sleight of hand alone? Incredible. The fascists understand the value of mass psychology, are familiar with its use, and hold all the important implements of its effective control. But they are not aware of our existence and our general strategy regarding the reaching of people. The whole situation can be reduced to a minority ruling clique, engaging the people's vanguard elements for control of the masses. The ruling clique approaches its task with a what to think program. The vanguard elements have the much more difficult job of promoting how to think. No tactic can be ignored or discounted in such a battle. Power responds to all threats. The response is repression. If the threat is a small one, the fascist tactic is to laugh it off, ignore it, isolate it with its defense mechanism. Media. The greater the threat, the greater the corresponding violence from power. The only effective challenge to power is one that is broad enough to make isolation impossible and intensive enough to cause repression to affect the normal lifestyle of as many members of the society as possible. By compromising and playing at class war, we lose. If some effective means of threatening to wield power is not used in the opening stages of revolutionary activity, repression will concentrate itself on the vanguard elements only, when the ideal situation is for the people to feel the raw essence of power. Nothing can bend consciousness more effectively than a false arrest, a no-knock invasion, careless, panic-stricken gunfire. These will frighten some, anger others. Common sense alone tells me whom the people will turn their anger against. Perhaps for a short time they will be angry at us, but since the pig is a pig, it won't be long before this anger is channeled in the right direction. Revolution builds in stages. It isn't cool or romantic. It's bold and vicious. It's stalking and being stalked. The opposition rising above our level of violence to repress us, and our forces learning how to counter this repression and again pulling ourselves above their level of violence. That process repeats itself again and again until finally the level is reached where the real power of the people is felt and the ruling class is suppressed. The power of the people lies in greater potential violence, and this power of the people, their greater potential violence, can be brought to fruition only if the conditions in an urban society are created by the application of the Foucault theory. The Foucault theory grew out of the Cuban Revolution and refers to the more or less slow building up through guerrilla warfare of a mobile strategic force which would be the nucleus of a people's army and of a future socialist state. The Foucault theory can be effective only when it does not allow itself to be isolated from the people, thus exposing itself to the vastly superior firepower of the corporate state. There is no doubt that Fidel's Foucault was the motor of the revolution in Cuba, but nor can there be any doubt that Fidel's organizational genius made sure that the Foucault remained in the center of the much bigger revolutionary movement, which it controlled or guided for its military and political advantage. The Foucault may well be the best tactic to mount the motor, but it needs a long period of preparation, intensive organizational work to set up an efficient, reliable machinery, which will not only generate the atmosphere for armed struggle by Foucaults, but will also guarantee their logistic, communication, survival programs, and propaganda network. The traditional communist parties of the world claim that they are doing just that, and have been, most peacefully, for 40 years. That is not what Behar had in mind when he said that there have been real stages of hard underground life. Behar and New Left revolutionaries all over the world know very well that a revolutionary lifestyle is a warrior's lifestyle. By stages, he meant stages of combat, and that is precisely the way in which revolutionaries can be honed into the kind of organization capable of leading a people's war.
Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome. Where's the camera at? Oh, here it is. It's right here. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good. Pirate Queen, how are you? Good to see you. What you on there?
I'm doing great. Hey, I didn't know we were straight on
We
here.
were just going
Hi.
straight to it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. I'm One Frog Nine. This is Pirate Queen Indigo Cat. We are live every Thursday and Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm also live at other random times today. This week, Halo came out, so you can find some videos of me playing the Halo campaign. That's fun. Yeah, we also use this kind of our Thursday time as like a space just to update you guys what we're up to, what we're doing. We're artists, we're creators, performers. This is our performance space. I haven't been doing too much wiggling around in that department, but maybe one day. But
We're working on it, working up to it.
so yeah, I've been jamming on some of that Halo. I also been working on some Blender stuff. Actually, I have another Blender class today at 3, so I'm going to be
Good
jumping into
guy.
that. I'll be showing you guys some of that later in the show today. Probably after this podcast type set, I'll probably jump back into the Halo campaign for a little bit, and then and we'll go from there. What's going on in your world there, Pirate Queen?
Well, I keep every day immersing myself in this NFT process. As I've mentioned, I'm reorganizing everything. Basically, I've thrown everything out of the outdoor storage areas, and so I can just see what's there, inventory. How can I repurpose these things? And doing the same inside and attempting to put together this story that my unconscious or I've been putting together uh, through my years and years of doing shows and stuff. So it's pretty exciting, and I've got something that could actually be a Blender project for you. Is the website should be something called Cat's Harbor, or so the graphic of it, kind of like you're putting together your space for the frog pond.
Mm-hmm.
We can start thinking, is the frog pond near the harbor?
Okay.
Um, and I realize I have all these nice boats downstairs, and just starting to pull together props, things I've written, stories, paintings, and looking at this as like a seaport town. You come into it, there's exotica, erotica, tattoos, places to eat, and perhaps Valeria's Beignet Cabaret Bakery is there also. So just trying to visualize and then looking through my art and see where, oh my goodness, I actually drew this place. I'm not just thinking of things. So that's what I'm working on. And I'm actually loving it, loving it. And I've given myself some challenges. I can go into those later.
I'll go for it.
Well, one of them is when I'm around young people, or I don't know, there's this sense that a lot of the young people are not tied up in this binary um, model that people my age were brought up in. And so I like to question, well, what would be non-binary design? What would the clothing look like? Where would places that people hang out look like if we're no longer deciding to divide people by their, I don't even know if it's just their sex organs. It's just kind of like a weird thing that we do. If I came here from another planet, it doesn't, like, most of the things that we do don't make any sense. So what would a non-binary town or place look like? What would non-binary erotica look like? 'Cause when I do my research, I find men, of course, doing erotic photos of women, and then I'm sure there must be men doing erotic photos of men, but I can't find them in the NFT market space. So as a woman, I would like to do some erotica of men and women's bodies, and not looking at them as sexual partners, but as sensual uh, curves, things that are warm, these things that we, at least I do, associate with erotica. And then I go through trying to think of just kind of silly words like names. Non-binary booty. What else? Curves we love to consensually touch. The sense of treasure, since I found that treasure chest this week. I just trying to.
You found a treasure chest this week.
Huh?
You found a treasure chest this week?
I found a treasure chest.
Huh.
I just directed right into the store. It's next door. And I've written about the story called Romance Novel. And there's a scene where the woman dives in the water and she goes down and she finds a treasure chest. And then she swims back up to tell the man she's with. And it's like she has to convince him to find this treasure chest. So I have these bits of stories that I think are going to, as I figure out ways to actually maybe make the set, the front porch is Freya and Oshun's porch. Decorate that. The other porch is like Hell's porch. Decorate that. The old chicken coop is going to be the children's house and the children's garden. Decorate that, doing Jormungandr. And I'm just moved to do better sketches of what I'm doing. And actually, I never explain anything because I assume there's no one interested. But to progress on what I'm doing, I have to at least explain them to you. And I'm grateful for this platform that I can, talk about them. So, that's just some of what I'm doing.
So what have you been able to cover in the past week then?
I have a list of what I've done is which ones are ready to pull the trigger. I keep saying which ones are ready to be an NFT.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 3 so far that I've found that are just ready. I could upload them right now. So basically, in a way that's enough, but I'm also going see if I can pull up 12 so I can start to make a roadmap. Mm-hmm. And so say, what if this first one's just the first, and then the next time I do 2, and then the roadmap, and then, but I want to be able to connect them into the story, maybe the romance novel story, where, Pirate Queen, she comes into the harbor, and she gets off the ship, and she goes into this exotica place, and what is that place? And in the exotica they have these 2 NFTs for sale, and so it may be like we'll have different like little stores or pods in the harbor that if indeed we do a token, people can use that for access as different things get unlocked down the road. And ultimately, it's going to be a game. It's a game, but a bit of it's just being revealed to me as I talk about it. And as I have courage to talk to other people. These visions have been with me, but as they say, you have to believe in your own self and your own dreams and be able to promote them. So I'm just at that point. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Well, cool. No, it's been, just seeing us trying to wrap our heads around how this is going to work for us and how we're going to work with it.
Yes.
And, seeing your, enlightenment around it, and just trying to figure out how, seeing you try to figure out how to just get in the space. So it's good to see you just making some moves, progressing forward.
Yeah, this whole build in public is different for me. Of course, for it, and the way we were trained is, hide all your,
Right.
hide all your stuff and don't show your seams and hide your pins, and everything in the West is built on hiding.
Right.
And in this new transparency that the blockchain brings is show your stuff. I mean, I was listening to some of the senators asking about, well, will this do, will it do, they think it's going to do all the things that already our fiat system is doing. They just cannot yet, until we explain it better, envision that it's transparent. You see who's doing things because they're so used to doing things hidden and secret and controlling.
Right.
And it's up to us to just keep this blockchain space and NFT space and Bitcoin or crypto space under our control. And we have to educate ourselves. I mean, every day, that's what majority of the time I spend either creating, studying about NFTs, studying about the blockchain, talking to you, or organizing. I've got like lots of books organized by, well, ultimately they'll be organized by years of my different projects, because each of my shows exhibits could be an NFT. So it's just figuring out how is whole life, whole earth theory, dimensions of life and death. How is that? How do I make that accessible as an NFT to people? A lot of those, I think what I can add is the history of some of those paintings, that they went from there, they went here, and then they went out in the yard, and then they composted for like 6 years in my paintings graveyard. So I don't know. Some people who like art and like artists and support artists, and Appalachian artists, might like to know the process and the relationship I have with art and recycling and upcycling, and how I now rarely buy the wonderful paints I loved so much, but use. I mean, I just can't see buying something when I have an abundance of trash. So I'm trying to look at all of those as investments and look with new eyes into all the things that we have a lot of. Like, we have a lot of leaves. I heard you can sell leaves on eBay. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And I've always liked bonsai. So I've been watching this bonsai guy on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, now I see. They just get an interesting plant, dig it up. And anyway, I have so many side interests that I would like to maybe make a space for those projects to be pursued here on our 7 acres.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing, we're land rich.
Yep.
And just trying to figure, we have to put the structure, One Frog, on the relationship we'd like to have with the public, whether they're artists or who'd like to perform here when the space is ready for that, or how to do small, discreet parties. Whether they're cuddle kink parties or ladies having tea or mommy parties with their kids. So that's my goal. And to move my goal ahead fast, it's income from the NFT I'd like to use toward developing Zamani Refuge African Cultural Center and our Norse Refuge that we're doing at the same time. So does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okie dokes.
Defo neatly.
Because I realize I haven't talked to anyone. I mean, this COVID isolation has been one reason.
Right.
We just haven't had people to talk to.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, cool. So you're just going to keep on pushing for next week, huh? You can keep on making. You have anything to show us next week? Or are you still going to be...
Oh, no. I mean, I've been working on some things, but I'm conflicted about showing you, or do they just need to drop? You know what I'm saying?
We'll drop and then show.
Oh.
Right?
I might show you off camera.
Well, no. I'm talking about on camera.
Huh?
I'm talking about live, on camera. All these wonderful people here looking for what you got. So you don't want to sell NFTs or anything. You just want to You just want to make
No,
them.
I mean, I have to figure out what is my. I'm not going to just show people. That's what I'm used to doing on Instagram. Picture.
But you know what I said? Put like we get it on chain, and then you can show it.
Well, one of the ladies I follow said the mistake she made was not telling people weeks ahead of her drop.
Yeah.
She didn't let people know till the day, and then the problems she had were like, she was like, don't do that.
Well,
start letting people know. So I'm talking about, I'm going to drop some NFTs. Most likely they're going to be around erotica and the place Cat's Harbor and my.
Well, yeah. So we need to get you in a space where, we can talk about your project. Only thing I can think of is like Clubhouse, where they actually promote and do drop parties and stuff. Like that mask guy. The only reason I was looking at Kofi doing his masks again is because he was doing another mask drop in the Dream Conduit.
It's really nice, this stuff.
So, I mean, I'm not talking about his project. I'm saying that he, part of the Dream Conduit thing they do is they get people together, and, if somebody's doing a drop, they do like a drop party or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason I was even thinking about it.
I'm probably maybe another week away from being able to hang out in Clubhouse.
What? Another week?
Well, because I have to know what I'm talking about.
Another week?
Yeah.
You said the other day you're ready. And now you're saying you're not ready.
I was thinking one. I'm ready because I picked my one image. And I'm like, oh. And then I researched some people that were doing erotic NFTs. And I'm like, oh my God. They've got dozens of images on several, they're not just on OpenSea, they're on Nafty, and there's XX. I mean, there's a whole. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself a dozen. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool.
Excellent. So I need at least another week.
Well, but just like you said, though, like we need to get on the promotion of it sooner.
Yeah,
right. Just like you said, you're giving people.
I'm making it. How can I make it and promote it at the same time?
We got to wear all these hats, man. Like I'm making the stream right now. I'm promoting it. Like.
Well, whatever.
Whatever.
I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, and if it's not good enough for you,
it's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me.
Shit. I've lived most of my life listening to other people telling me how to do shit, so I have to.
It's just not good enough for me.
What?
It's just not good enough for me.
Well, good. You're probably not gonna buy anything anyway.
Damn. Damn. Yeah, you're right.
You don't know anybody with any money anyway.
Oh. All right. Well, that's the stream today. I've been dunked on my own stream. I take my energy away from this place, and I will see y'all later. Have a good evening, everybody. We love you all. No.
Hey, you just turn off?
Oh, well, I got dunked on. That's not fun.
Well, this is both of our show, at least when I'm on it, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Okay. Well, don't bully me.
I got the button here.
Don't bully me.
I'm not bullying you.
What else are we going to talk about today?
I'm not bullying you. I am the pressure that will turn you into a diamond.
Yeah, right. Turn yourself first.
Even though you're already a diamond.
Oh, okay. Here's some other things I want to do. Because before we just start saying stupid stuff. Erotic games.
Erotic games.
And one of the games is called Whipped Cream.
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream. Nice and nasty.
I thought we were done saying stupid stuff. I thought we were moving on to more
nipples up. It's a turn-based shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a puzzle game.
Cool.
First editions will center on erotica, nudity, exotica. I explore my journey as we ride the seas, coming to the mountains, Kuming, to the mountains of Venus, like an animal in its natural element. Front, back, together, ass play. Feeling futile, fat quarters. Hentai, 2 girls.
Cool.
Any questions?
A lot, but
And you know what?
Nope.
We didn't have our production meeting yesterday.
No, we didn't.
This is kind of like our production meeting right now.
No,
No,
we did not. We did not have our meeting.
no, we didn't. Are you gonna play Halo today?
Yeah, probably gonna get there after we're done with this.
Okay. So other
shit.
things for the website, I found my Virgin Territory video of fashion designs I did back in the day, organic clothing, and I think that should be on there as just kind of. It's like if we're at this harbor and the harbor has these little sections that are stuff. And I found the word Ife means love.
Huh. In what language?
Yoruba.
Oh, okay.
IFE means love.
I thought that was
And
something.
I had been making these little Ife islands, but I was thinking about Ile Ife.
Well, that's the only time I've heard it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway. And then I was also thinking of doing 11 tattoo related designs from the tattoo art book, which the funds could come back so I could republish that book. That makes sense? NFT sell like some of the art from that book to pay for it being republished.
Yeah.
Stories in time before books, true lies.
Yeah.
We're eaten but now wretched through every orifice and gender made golden dirt clean up down. That was some poetry right there.
I think so. Well, cool. While you're working on that, I'm going to shift on over
You
here.
could go to Blender.
Show folks what we got here. This is just something I've been working on.
Oh, I love that.
It's kind of an intro for the stream.
I love it.
It would start with this, and then we would pan down. Why is this so unintuitive? Pan down.
Is it?
And then get to this, and then we will go in this direction. And, you know, it would be a pretty smooth pan. We'd get about here, and then we would actually start going in. This would be water here. We would go into the water. And then there'd be a whole lot more going on in that scene. So this is just something I'm trying to whip up. Just trying to get the idea down. Just so, yeah.
Great job. I like it.
So there's that. And then, yeah, with the Dream Conduit, I've been going to some of their, like, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They have a Blender kind of group that meets up. This is the first one I was able to make it to, and we did this. Ta-da, we did this. What do you think? Oh, wait, no, it's not the right screen. Not the right screen.
Sphere?
This is the right screen. This right here. Are we in cycles?
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So this one actually has some animation with it.
Oh, yeah?
But we're in a certain type of render engine that keeps everything looking grainy.
Mm-hmm.
But when we render it, obviously it's gonna be all smooth. Here, I'll do this. Render that. See how our render runs while we're streaming. So this will take a second. Take about 20 minutes actually to render this.
So I would like to take my 2D, at least some of them, and take it into Blender and add some animation. Do you think I can do that? I mean, I know I can do it.
Where is the other Blender thing I'm looking for? Blender? There it is.
So,
yeah, it's just a matter of getting down, and yeah, I mean it's a lot of it's just a lot of stuff to know, you know. So it's like, what's the best use of your time? Like, you doing this stuff, or just at least trying to get the ideas down so that we can try to figure out how to get this stuff done in the most efficient way.
Well, yeah, because with Blender, I'm trying to understand, how do you tell this what part you want to animate, or you're just animating random the whole thing, or what?
So I'm still, I mean, I've been using Blender for a while, but what's good about this class is they have been getting into some stuff that I don't really understand, like these shaders here.
Yeah.
So the way this shader works, I don't fully understand yet, but it's just gonna, you know, it's hard. It's gonna be hard for me to teach you this stuff if I don't even understand it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just
Well,
focus on
I'll
your ideas.
yeah.
Focus on the
I'm gonna
core of
take
your
it as far
ideas.
as I can make it go because I don't think I want the whole thing moving. I mean, Beeple doesn't have animation in his. He just does dynamite
Just scenes, yeah.
scenes.
Just scenes and stuff. So, well, we put this at 60. So, I'm trying to figure out how to best explain what we did here because I don't quite.
Okay, well,
I don't quite remember.
go ahead because you may be right. I'll just take mine as far as I can, get it to go.
So this little node right here is tied to the object, I guess, and it kind of runs all because we're dealing with a material.
Yeah.
So we've run this principle BSDF. It's I don't know what BSDF is, but this tool as a shader or whatever is really common. Has a lot of different tools on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it so that there's a subsurface color. So it'll like where you'll be able to see a surface, right? Like right now we're looking at the surface of the object, but when we go into subsurface tools, we can actually put another layer material beneath the surface of the material. I don't quite know how to make all that work really well, but the main things I do work with is like the metallic option.
Yeah.
So if we turn the metallic option off, then we get more of a flat type thing right here. But what we did with this, we boosted the metallic all the way up. My CPU will be nice.
How are you boosting it?
You just click and drag. These are just click and draggable.
Oh, I see.
Values here.
See. Okay, I couldn't see anything moving, so I didn't know where.
Yeah, it's kind of slow right now, but because I'm streaming. But so that's one. I'm trying to get it to respond. Come on, respond, Blender. So that's metallic, specular kind of, I think, has to deal with how the light reflects or something. Roughness is pretty important as well, because especially if you're dealing with metallic, if you have more roughness, there's going to be less light being bounced off in a metallic way. If it's less rough, it's going to be smoother, right? Transmission deals with, these are the only other ones I've been dealing with. Transmission deals with like how light gets transmitted through a material, through an object. So if you increase this, let's see how it changes. It might not change very much because we don't actually have some other settings, I think, set, but I'll turn transmission off again. So that's just kind of this main one. So what we did is we plugged into the base color, a thing, and some other stuff, and then we did more stuff down here. So this, again, we're going back to this main node. This all dealt with the surface. So
say it again.
This main node right here is dealing with, we plugged it into the surface. So it's dealing with the surface material options. So yeah, as you can see, like there's the red right here. You can see the red. So this is where all these different colors come into play. All this plugs into the surface, right? Well, now, God damn it. Thing keeps disappearing. Close this. Close it all the way. No, it's not going to do that. You're just going to make me mad. Close it all the way. 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 Come on. There we go. This go that way. All right. All right. This. Close this. Can't. That's fine. All right. So that was dealing with the surface. This one right here is dealing with displacement. So you see all of this display, like the texture, the bumpiness.
Wait a minute, where does this say displacement? Oh, okay.
On this main node again.
Okay, yeah.
So you see how, the surface is displaced? It's not flat. It's got all this variation. Maybe I can delete the displacement one. What is this now? Trying to just get to the base thing that we were running with. But it's not coming to mind yet. How about this one? No. Yeah, the wave texture. That's what it was. No. Undo. Trying to figure out the best way to show you. How do we even get to that? I don't even know how we did that. Height. Maybe I can just do this. Whoa. So again, I don't really mess with these type of nodes very much on my own because there's a lot. There's a lot of different nodes and tools and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I
And
said, we had all this in Poser. You know, they would just, of course, what do you call it? Dumb it down for you. You
yeah.
know.
Here's another tutorial I was trying to work on, but this didn't quite come out so well. Why is it not? Thank you. The idea is that you're supposed to be able to just like draw and then turn everything into a mesh, but this one's not done. It's not working. Let's see. Chip. This one is another tutorial I'm working on.
Oh, what's this one?
This is where it's supposed to be like a microchip with some animated
Oh, I like it.
paths and stuff like that. We're still working on this one too. So
I haven't seen that one.
I was working on this one on Tuesday, and then the class started, so I stopped. This one here is next. Let's see, we did the frog pond. Okay, glass cube, and then this one was the most recent one. This is so yeah, I was working on this chip, and then had to go to this meeting class thing, and then we made this one, which is
oh, I didn't see that one either.
This one I put up on Twitter.
Oh yes, I did see that.
This one I put up on Twitter. Again, we're dealing with shader nodes, so this only has 2 objects. Can I just do this? Okay, it's actually 3 objects. So it's a plane, a plane, this little sphere, this little cube here, and then this other cube. So
you mean above and below the plane? Or separate? Oh no. Oh, I didn't see that one.
Okay. So this cube is inside of the other cube, because what we've done with the shaders is we've actually made this cube, the big cube, we've made it a volume. So it doesn't have any texture on it, but the volume of it, we've given the volume of it attributes to give it like a fog effect. And then the plane, we've done some things too. Let me see if I can get some of these shader nodes to come up. Why doesn't this one have the options on it? How did I change the volume? There it is. I was wondering what the fuck. All right. So the volume, we just, you remember as a principled BSDF? Well, we changed that to a principled volume, and we just fucked with the density and some of these other, the color and all these other options. I don't think we really messed with much, but that one I hadn't really messed with, but it just gives the scene, some atmosphere. Because if I go back into the camera here and I turn off the volume plane, now we can, there's no fog, you can see the back. Even though we would render this and we wouldn't be able to see the grid in the back. I'm rendering it now to take a look. It's not showing up on y'all's screen. Oh, it's still rendering the volume because I didn't actually unrender it. Let's try to take a look again now. I'll switch over here so y'all can see the difference. Blender render, and you see that there, right? So that's without the volume. You can kind of see. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It looks better than anything else I've ever made, but I want to switch back over here and we'll turn the volume back on and we'll go back to rendering and switching the capture to render. And then again, this is with the with that volume on. It just gives it a little more nicer touch.
I like that. See, that's what my my erotica I'm working on now. The background needs more depth. I think what I appreciate about people is he makes these unreal looking things look like they're really somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that. And then the next thing, so this is all the shader nodes for the volume thing. Now we're going to click on the plane. And there's the plane. You can see the edge of it cutting in right there. And now I have a little more options.
Wait. Plane where? You say plane, but okay.
This plane right here.
You selected. Okay.
So once I've selected it, you can actually see the edge of the selection right here cutting through the scene.
Okay.
You should be able to.
I see it. I didn't know what.
I don't see it on the stream.
You jumped.
Okay, too many pixels.
Jumped ahead a little.
Too many pixels. All right. Yes. So I've selected the plane. Now because I've selected it, it's going to show me all the shader nodes associated with it. So again, we're just dealing with the surface. We did make it metallic. We pulled the roughness. Actually, look, the roughness doesn't have a bar like this, right? Because it has a node plugged into it, because we can actually put a finer tune control on these things. Everywhere you see these nodes, we can plug in something. So what I'm learning is this color ramp tool gives us a lot more control beyond just this kind of like 0 to 100. It's still kind of a 0 to 100, but like, I don't quite understand, but you can see it changing a little bit there in the scene. You see that?
Oh yeah.
So we're actually, again, just playing with the roughness values in a more dynamic way than just, like, again, sliding one slider. We have two sliders. I don't fully understand it yet, but
yeah, I mean, I like you showing it this way. Like, just show me what it does.
And then now, so into this ramp, the ramp's actually controlling this noise texture, because all these nodes go from left to right.
Oh, do they?
Right. So, but we're starting it over here because this is where everything kind of ends up, right?
Okay.
But we're running it backwards, where we're actually creating this thing called a noise texture. It actually has its own, it's a texture. It's a generated noise. All right. And we're plugging this noise into this color ramp. And this color ramp is adjusting the noise and then feeding that into the roughness. So it's giving the roughness a noise texture, and then we're just playing with all the parameters in that. Now, with this mapping node and this texture coordinate node, these two together, we can actually affect the X, Y, and Z position of the shader. Yeah, does that make sense? So like when I go in here and adjust it, you can see it moving in there. So it's kind of like the UV mapping, if you've ever looked at anything like that.
In Poser, yeah.
Yeah.
At least I've seen these before, but
we also we added a bump node, and this deals with the normals. So the normals of any object, any 3D object, with normals, what's happening is every face has a perpendicular data line sticking out of that face, in a perpendicular manner, right? So here's the face. This is a normal. So a normal right here, right? You got any face, any polygon, you got a normal sticking out. The computer, the program is reading the normals. Every face has a normal. It uses that to determine like the angle, the shape of light, or the angle of it, the shape of it, the way light bounces off of it. That's normals do probably a lot more than what I'm talking about. But in this case, we're using that normal information and we're adding a bump node, right? And what bump mapping is going to do, it's going to imply depth.
Yeah, I know.
Without actually affecting the geometry.
Yeah, I know bumps from Poser also.
Cool. So
the Poser?
Well, I know bump from Halo 2. So back in the day when they were releasing Halo 2, they were all the rage about bump mapping, and everybody loved it.
Oh, how funny.
And it was all the thing to write about in a magazine, because what else are you gonna write about?
They don't know what it is. Like everything else.
Yeah, I mean, anything else you try to talk about would be too complicated. But anyway, so we did bump mapping here. Again, color ramp kind of affects. Now this, again, we're dealing with the plane here. So this is going to affect how kind of the bump looks on the plane. Let's see what we get here. I'm seeing a little bit of changing, but
and
see the bump there? It's actually changing the reflection.
Mode are you creating all this? Because I know there's grease pencil separate, right? It's something different, right?
It's a separate tool. Yeah. Right now we're just using, if you can see in the collection here, we just have a camera. We have a basic cube. We have a light.
Where? Oh, okay. To the right. Is that-
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what we're working
So we
with.
just have a
Okay.
camera, a basic cube, a light, a plane, and the volume, which you can't really see because we're inside of the
Okay. Cool.
volume sphere.
Mhm.
So we're just using basic objects, which is really fun about, Blender. You use basic objects, but you can make them look really cool
Yeah.
with just a couple shaders. So every time you click on an object and it has shaders on it, it'll show up in this thing here.
Now, so you create, so I can import my layers from Photoshop, right?
I don't think so.
How do I have to do it? Oh, you can't?
I don't know because Photoshop is a different file format.
So I have to export to something. What is Blender? I know Blender does import 2D images because I've done it.
Yeah,
But never very well.
It's something I'd have to Google.
Okay,
I know
you
it's
don't
not
know.
too hard. It's pretty straightforward.
I know I've done it, but
And luckily, yeah, I mean, you're dealing with some pretty simple stuff, right? You just have a plane where the image is going to be on or something.
Well,
or, we just got to figure it. Like I said, we got to get the ideas down before we actually start jumping in the programs. So we're not.
Yeah, I have like a guy standing and he's behind a gate and in front of a gate. So I thought like all him where he is one layer. The gate in front's another layer. The gate behind's another layer. And then there's the background where I would like to put some buildings and do stuff like Beeple does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
So I'm wondering if I might have to import them layer at a time, work on the layer, export them back to Photoshop. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you should try coming to these Blender things.
Well, I've gotten a few. Yeah, he's really good.
But on your machine, on your Discord, with your Blender open so you can follow along.
Okay.
I think that would really help.
When's the next one?
Today. At 3.
What time?
At 3.
Huh?
At 3. It is at 3.
Okay.
Today.
I think I could do that.
Well, cool. Well, we did what we did. We came to say that we did. We're going to say what we did. We did. We said we did what we said what we did.
Oh, and don't forget our Redbubble store.
Redbubble.
Redbubble
store.
If you'd like to support us as we charge forth in our self-determined road to $1 billion. Yeah. And that's not what Brit says, but I'm like, I might as well be a billionaire. Right? I'm a Black woman. I might as well be a billionaire. And I'm reverse engineering. We've done a lot of charitable support work in our time here in Asheville and, Shogbo, Nigeria. And we've been to China. So now it's time to put together all that we have done, bring our resources together and make these NFTs and actually fund and build these programs and fund bringing students here to work and study and have cabins for them to stay in and all the resources that are needed. So that's why we're working hard every day doing what we do. We love you. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for hitting us up. We're on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube today. So hit us up on our socials. You can see our Pirate Queen socials right there on TikTok,
you can even
Instagram.
Come out to visit, even though it's not ready yet. And it looks like, you can still come out and walk barefoot and talk to trees.
Yeah, come on and do some forest bathing, y'all.
Yeah. Buto.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else?
Guess what? The Asheville Art Museum liked my post about the porch.
Oh, yeah?
With, the dress and everything where I explained, well, this is where Freya and Oshun are going to be. And they liked it.
Oh.
The whole idea of me talking about this will be a local gallery that people can actually come to, and we'll have a map and then relate it to our NFT characters. So cool. People are watching us.
Yeah. You just got to,
we're going to jump out there first.
We just got to keep making and creating.
Creating. Yeah. Love you all. Love you, family. Steven, Shawana, Stephen Jr., Savion,
Savion.
Sharjuan,
Savian.
Savion,
Savian.
Savion,
Savian.
Savion,
Savian.
Kane, Macy Mays, Mama Amanda, and I hope Vicky Dale's doing well. Shout out to Evan and Sean Berry in Phoenix at Crawling Squid. And y'all go get some tattoos. Yeah, get some tattoos, y'all.
Do it to it.
Let's look out for each other and love each other and stop the fighting and bring the soldiers home. And let's just make love and not war.
All right. Well, cool. We're going to take off. I'm going to start the stream over and we're going to play some Halo Infinite campaign. Come hang out, all right? We'll see y'all very quickly. Come find us.